happy solstice to everybody. And wow, what a build up to this particular solstice it has actually been in respect of the energies that we have been dealing with in the last week. So I will certainly be sharing some of that insight with you as we go through this introduction. And Bunny's just said in the chat room, the energy is so strong right at this moment. Yep. Um, and there's been a lot of talk. We were actually having a little bit of a chat offline about the power of color. And what I would actually suggest is that at the moment we are still in the integration phase and needing to integrate all of these amazing energies that are actually flooding in at the moment. So what we need to do is to alternate with different colors that will support this integration. One of the most important ones being green, because green is the color that expands the heart, and the power of these incoming energies of the incoming light and the incoming codes is realized through an expanded heart. So we've got green and turquoise. Turquoise actually links us with the high heart and supports the integration of and the expansion of the heart energy to be able to accommodate and align with creative impulses in order to be of service, which is really what these upgrades are actually about. So green and turquoise are two that I would actually suggest for you, and green is a very, very balancing color between the energizing active colors and the softer intuitive go within colors. And we have a balancing effect too, and one of the requirements is to actually ground. So one of the other colors that I would suggest is magenta. Magenta actually helps us to anchor and integrate all of this expanded energetic flow that is coming in through the heart, and it helps us to anchor that physically, because we're really talking about divine energies, higher dimensional frequencies, and magenta is one of the ones that's powerful for that. Hillary says, this week I've been wearing a lot of blue and some green. Yep, I've been wearing a lot of blue. Blue is the one that's actually been talking to me. And blue is also the one that it's very powerfully actually helps to calm the mind, especially when the mind and this pressure on the head and this influx of information has been so intense. So blue just helps to calm down our energy fields, and the magenta, those on the red side of the spectrum, will actually help us to ground and anchor it. So it's good to alternate the colors and work with both sides of the spectrum. So, well, there you have a little bit of insight that I wasn't planning on building into this, but you never know. These things have a way of following a really beautiful organic guidance system, if you like, through our gathering. So officially, welcome to all of you who've managed to be here with us live. So there was somebody here who's just said, can't wear blue, so here comes the blue underwear. Yep. You can put anything on, people can't see it. You could do all sorts. And there'll be shades of blue that you can wear. Okay, so there you go. Okay, so where are we at the moment? This solstice, we know. You guys know the energetics of the solstice being the longest day of sunlight in the northern hemisphere and the shortest day of sunlight in the southern hemisphere. So here we are, most of us here, I think, in the north. One or two who will be tuning in on the recording are from the southern hemisphere, helping to balance this out. Either way, we will be integrating the influx, because the influx of new light codes is not always light of the visible spectrum. It is actually light as well that is beyond our physical eye's ability to perceive it. So it's not only because we're in the northern hemisphere and it's the longest daylight that we're receiving this light, which is how some people may relate to it. It is a global planetary phenomenon. But the one thing that this light is doing is it is without doubt pushing deep, causing a lot of pressure to actually push out more of the darkness, which is one of the reasons why I said that there's going to be some healing work on multi-generational traumas that we've been holding within our body. That's the sense that I was getting, is it's pushing all of that out, but we need to be present and present within the heart in order for that to heal. So we may have been experiencing some emotional turbulence. We may have been experiencing some of the effects and the implications of this over the last couple of days as the energy has been building up. Okay, so here we are at the moment in respect to the Mayan Tzolk'in, as mentioned previously when we gathered, that we are moving through. Oh, I've just messed up on the slide. But we are moving through this core column at the moment, which is what's called the mystic core column. It really represents the spine, the backbone, the central conduit of light through the DNA. Bearing in mind that this is the DNA pattern. So all of the light that's actually pouring in here is quite literally pushing energy and patterns out through the DNA in order for it to be restructured in accordance with the new codes that are being received with those seeds that we were talking about in the last gathering as well. So still in a process of receiving that through the core and integrating it all. And we have, you see this beautiful synchronicities again between the Mayan Tzolk'in and the astrological information, which we're going to see shortly. But today is what is known as Kin 134, the white self-existing wizard. And the affirmation for that is I define. So definition is talking about structure. I define in order to enchant. Measuring receptivity, I seal the output of timelessness with the self-existing tone of form. I am guided by the power of heart. And that is it. We're in the heart of the Tzolk'in. We're in the heart of that column. We're receiving codes that need to be integrated. We're getting messages about healing through the heart. This is a very, very powerful, heart-focused and heart-centered time at the moment. And that is what we need to work with in order to bring into form. So affirmation here from the Galactic Research Institute is, I am X-Wizard. I am your knowledge from the heart, your shaman. And I like this word because the shaman implies this moving between dimensions and generations, and all of the many layers in which information is actually being transferred and held within our cellular fabric. I help you to come to terms with the divine will. So there's an element and an aspect of surrender in here, because that's really what divine will is all about. So I've helped you to come to terms with the divine will. The wizard is your inner shaman who can travel without actually moving. And just on this next slide, just to show you the code we're going to be working with today, of course, is one that I've got that's actually called Shaman. It supports us in moving in and out and traveling between dimensions without moving. So we move with our consciousness. We're going to work with it. It is this actual movement that contains the key to the realization of your dreams. Receive all that is present at this very moment. Wizards are aware of the power of all 13 previous seals. Those seals refer to the Tzolk'in. They are the solar seals. So that's really just the reference to this one. That is why they close their eyes and they look within where all answers can be found. They know once upon a time there was no time. Receive the heart's wisdom, for you too can play magic. So we're really talking about a really powerful, brilliant opportunity for magic, for healing, for expanding the heart, for opening up the heart light. So there's some really profound opportunities and expansive opportunities to heal and work from the heart today. So White Wizard days are all about being enchanted or being enchanting, and that is key, is to find something that's key to the lightness when we realize that we've got so much pressure that's being established as a consequence of this incoming light, and some of the dark that is coming along with it, is one of the things that helps to keep us from being dragged down the funnel or the spiral of pressure, is to find and refine the magic, wonder, and enchantment in life. Sometimes we are too busy to see it. Today provides an opportunity to remember this. Seek out the enchanted world, and you may find yourself down the rabbit hole with Alice. Be a wizard yourself and see how you can learn to enchant others. That's also key. It is time for exploring the extraordinary, as there's more to life than meets the eye, which we know. The guidance is to focus on becoming, I like this, the transparent wizard, because that transparency is really an aspect of the embodiment of diamond light, that brilliance, who allows magic to be effortlessly created through you. So we open up, we become a portal, we become the magical sacred sites, and that's why there's the sacred sites focus today. Elaine quite rightly says in the chat room, enchantment, certainly the opposite of yesterday's energies. Absolutely. It is, and it's part of how things have actually lightened up today. Use your heart-centered knowing to receive divine attunement. Be receptive to, I like this, radial, non-linear, now-centered time. So it's getting out of the linearity of life, getting out of the one direction and getting into and this is a radial pattern. This sort of circular in-out pattern of the shaman light code is a radial pattern, which is why I actually put it in here. So it's getting out of the linear, getting into the radial in respect of being able to center ourselves into the now-centered time. So very, very powerful. There was something I wanted to say to you about this, and I can't remember what it is. Exploring the extraordinary. No, it was the transparency, I think. Yeah, oh, that was it. It was about sex sites. So really interesting that it is very, very often in sacred sites that we experience this quality of divine magic, this aspect of transparency, because they act as portals into and through to other dimensions. And that's really why, over millennia, sacred sites around the world have always been used as places, doorways between worlds, opportunities for us to enter into that now-centered time and to see through the veils with the transparency that is provided. Yes, they're stargates, absolutely, within those sacred sites. And the 21st of June, today, is the day that Chief Arvel Looking Horse has actually delineated as Sacred Sites Honoring Day. And I've got a little piece that I'd like to read to you on a slide that's coming up shortly as well from him in respect of the sacred site. So this is part and parcel of the work that we're doing. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, last summer solstice I was at Castle Rig. This year it's about being within from home. And that's really beautiful, because where the process takes us and what we are reminded of at this time is that we become an organic portal, a living sacred site. And when we can truly, truly honor that about ourselves, going within, we take that into and out to any other physical sacred site that may be manifest on the surface of the planet. So it's like we become that stargate, as Elaine just said. So trusting that more and more and more, yeah, we become that. So it extends that honoring process to us ourselves for what we do. So astrologically, what's actually happening that's influencing the energies at the moment? Well, a huge amount. Actually, we have 5 planets going into retrograde. We have a lot of, and I don't profess to interpret this chart. This is just Kai Pacha's. This was taken from Kai Pacha's recent report. But what we have a lot of squares. So we have a lot of planets squaring other planets, and those squares create tensions. So squares and oppositions, and that's really this part and parcel of this energetic effect that we've been aware of in the last week, these tensions that actually exist, which is part of the rebirthing process that we are going through. And it's not an instantaneous one. You know, we're going to go through this over and over. We go through and into deeper and deeper layers as we clear out, as we refine, as we purify. And there's so many reports out there going, you know, have we ascended? Yes, we've made it. You know, and you kind of go, I don't think so. We've still got quite a way to go. This birthing process is not in an instant. It might be a cosmic instant or a cosmic moment, but those cosmic moments can be rather extensive, which is why bringing us into the center space of no time is actually probably one of the most important things that we can do, because then we're not aiming for a goal. We are able to be fully present in the present with all of our expanded awareness. That's the key. Keep on centering, integrating, and expanding our awareness. Center and expand. Center, integrate, and expand. So it's that in-out process all the time. So this is what Kaipacha has to say today. And this is his affirmation. My creative juices are flowing as I'm ready to give birth, ready to give it all I've got, for I have seen the new earth. And he's talking about this, but by all accounts, what we will be seeing is we will only be realizing the full birth. It's like we really are in another round of labor pains at the moment, the full birthing of visions of those seeds that we brought into being in the last bit of work that we did. We will only see them starting to liberate and starting to blossom from about September. So it's still going to be a bit of an intensive couple of months. So Kaipacha says, yep, we've all been awakened, some by an alarm, with Mars going into Aquarius and squaring Uranus. Now Mars will station and go retrograde for 2 months. Time to take the awakened vision, roll up the sleeves, and make the changes necessary for the new vision to manifest. So we're still in that preparing the ground. So Elaine says, had a visual of this when energetic portal appeared on a developed photos, brilliant white light tunnel. Yeah. And remark was made that the place was not the portal, but instead I was the portal present there. Absolutely, Elaine. Thank you for sharing that. So that really just validates what we were just saying about us being the organic portal. Indeed. Thank you. So this time will test us each on many different levels and in many different ways, depending on your personal chart. What we will be going through together is the question, do I change myself or do I try and change the outside world? Is this objective or subjective? Is it my problem or is it my mission? Do I try and change my partner, leave my partner, or change the way I relate? How much control do I really have or should have? Do I buckle down and accept, or do I revolt? Know what I mean? So these are all of those oppositions that are evident in those squares in the chart. And this is going to go on for another 2 months at least. Is this weighing up? The only way that we're going to find the answers to these questions that can then become a part of the new form that we are creating is to go within and to hear the answers. So we're purifying that internal space. As we sit with these questions, the answers each of us comes up with will determine and actually form or create who we are and who we were always intended to be. So that's really what we want to do, is support this process as much as possible with another deep level of clearing out. And here's where I wanted to share with you another let me just pull it up. Sorry about the clicking. Another astrological report that I saw today, and it was so powerful and relevant. This is from, let's have a look, here in the moonastrology.co.uk. So I'd like you to just close your eyes and listen, as I'm going to read out what is written in this report. So the first quote is, "At critical junctures, outer trouble and the inner need to grow conspire to set each of us on a path of awakening and initiation." That's a quote by Michael Meade. The report goes on to say, "For the first time in 50 years, as the sun crosses 0 degrees Cancer at the solstice, it is exactly aligned with Shaman Chiron on the Aries point world axis, where the political meets the personal in a grand cross with the galactic and supergalactic center. The new light intensifies the old dark, and never have we needed this universal sacred medicine as we do now. The metaphor of the sick Fisher King in the Grail quest comes to mind, the Fisher King whose primal wound turned his kingdom into a poisoned wasteland where nothing would grow. The wound would not heal. Infected and terribly burned, it festered and resisted all efforts by the court physician to heal it. He was therefore bound to his court and castle, immersed in the constant arguments, negotiations, and courtly conversations with business and government men and women who came to the court. His kingdom fell into waste. The crops stopped growing. Disease decimated his great herds of sheep and goats. The cattle would not breed, and even the wildlife disappeared. It seemed that the curse visited upon the king had also fallen upon the land. It seemed that the kingdom no longer existed within normal time or place, as though the earth itself had given up the kingdom and her wounded king to heaven or hell. The symbol, so that's the story, that's from the Grail quest. The rest of the report goes on to say, the symbol for Centaur Chiron, is a stylized key. Look at it and the meaning is clear. A key is a device used to open a passageway from one reality to another. Chiron influence is not a thing. It is an energetic force. It is an action verb instead of a noun. Chiron functions like a hieroglyph. It is a vehicle in the chart to show where and how realities intersect. It is a doorway into feelings about events and a revelation of the cosmic influence. It is an occult or seeing tool. Between now and the Saturn-Pluto conjunction in 2020, which is America's first Pluto return since the Founding Fathers, starts a fight to the death for the karmic levers of power. The poison and the clickbait will keep on morphing into one 3D form or another. Last week Korea, this week imprisoning Mexican babies. Chiron brings the antidote, the medicine to your primal wound. That Achilles heel where you close down your vulnerability and build impenetrable defenses. By allowing your high heart to open to all levels of your wound, mind, emotions, body, and karma, you earn an owned knowing, a cellular memory of self-wholeness. And when you start to walk your chironic medicine, you have a rare ability to guide not from your ego, but from holding others' unique constellation of wholeness, what the Buddhists call the universal medicine, the space of pure awareness that is both our home base and our true nature. What ails you is only and always what you think. Now that to me just encompasses so beautifully where we're at the moment from a personal perspective and from a planetary perspective. And the antidote, which is Chiron, the shaman, the healer. So here again, isn't this just such a beautiful synchronicity? And I love how this popped up this afternoon because I didn't know that. And this is the symbol for Chiron, which is the stylized key. There you have it, influencing everything at the moment. The wounded healer, yes. So this is really an opportunity to work with the galactic shaman, for want of a better description. Elaine has also said here, also many planets now on the right side of our sun. This phenomenon is cyclical. Volcanoes erupt and earthquakes happen as a result. Yes, absolutely. And they are going to happen. And we cannot change that. Those, the cyclical nature of all of these events is absolutely part and parcel of the divine pattern in the universe. So it's also, those individuals who really think that the process of ascension should just be love, light, and everything must be easy and blissful. That's not the way the universe works. You look at the universe, and the universe itself is birthed through explosions. Stars are birthed in massive explosions through those birth pains, and just through some enormous pressures. Diamonds, as we know, are formed under intense and incredible heat and pressure. So we endure those pressures within, and we use them as a guideline in order to be able to support our journey walking back into wholeness and oneness with the universe. But what we fear about the earth cataclysms, and again, it's a primal fear, it's part of the primal wound, is we fear very often death. And we fear physical death, which is why we want everything to be all nice. We fear conflict because we fear standing up for ourselves. We fear being separated. So there's quite a few primal wounds that we will find play out within us that actually determine those particular worldviews. So the warrior aspect of ourselves is that part that is able to hold space no matter what. And you know what? Looking at this picture, I've just realized something, and I hadn't seen it before. And this was a random selection because I was looking for the Chiron key. Look at the light form behind this circle. Oh, thank you. I think we just synchronicities and magic abounds. I am grateful for that message because I hadn't seen that earlier. That is just beautiful. So here we have a golden key. Yeah, I love it. Thank you. I'm just saying thank you to the divine. So it's kind of, yeah, through the diamond, because the diamond helps us to amplify those things that we hold within. They are sneaky, aren't they? It's just amazing how they actually do creep in the most beautiful of ways. So, yeah, I think I need that message for myself. Today, because when things get very, very quiet, one of my tendencies and my wounds is to drop into a lack of worth. And then I go through all of the questions about what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, what is it for, what is the point, and all of those things. And am I really meant to be doing this? Kind of thing. And it's reminders like this and the beauty of these synchronicities which help me to restore that alignment. So yes, that's one of my wounds that I actually work with frequently. And I have to say that in the last 2 days, when it got very, very intense, it was also with the assistance of dear Anne, who is part of our community, cannot always make the meetings, and she always sends her love to everybody. And did a remote alignment with me, which really brought the lightness back in and helped to rebalance. So these remote alignments really, really are powerful in helping to restore our connection to the core. So there we have Chiron and the golden key. So it's a symbol that we're actually going to work with as we explore and examine some of the source of the wounds within us, multi-generational impacts and implications in respect of some of those wounds. We clear them out so that we can restore our inner sacred sight and be able to hold that and become the transparent vehicle for the incoming light. So this is something that I said Chief Arvel Looking Horse contributes to this. So 21st of June is designated World Peace and Prayer Day. And he says, our vision is for the peoples of all continents, regardless of their beliefs in the Creator, to come together as one at their sacred sites to pray and meditate and commune with one another, thus promoting an energy shift to heal our Mother Earth and achieve a universal consciousness toward attaining peace. Know that you yourself are essential to this world. Understand both the blessing and the burden of that. And that's a very, very interesting comment. And again, it holds the perspective that it is both a blessing and it can be a burden. And how we then approach life depends on which way those scales tip. And can we hold those scales in balance, keep the oscillation, the movement through the infinity symbol, the figure eight flowing, so that we are able to oscillate between the poles and not get trapped in any single perspective. You yourself are desperately needed to save the soul of this world. Did you think that you were put here for something less? In a sacred hoop of life, there is no beginning and no ending. And that's just an extract from his website. If you want to have a look and read and listen to more of what he has to say, worldpeaceandprayerday.com is the website. And there's a couple of pages on there. And how I actually came across Chief Arvil was I actually picked up his input into the sacred white animals and how they are here to support it's very profound presence, how they are here to support us. And Chief Arvil Looking Horse is actually the 19th sacred pipe holder for the sacred white buffalo calf woman. So he carries that. He was taught about these particular animals since he was 12, since he was a child, and what their presence means and meant. And this is also that they represent both a blessing and a challenge for humanity. So they embody both of those within their pure white bodies. And he actually says that when this, and these are his words, when the sacred white animals show their true colors, as in that purity of whiteness, because it means they step out and stand out from the crowd. You know, they're vulnerable in that transparency, in the whiteness that seems to be at odds with their traditional ecosystems. When the sacred white animals show their true colors, then humanity has work to do, because this represents both a blessing and a challenge. And it means that it's time for us to work to restore harmony again upon the planet. The woman is White Buffalo Calf Woman. I'm really amazed that you haven't heard of her, because for me, when I started becoming aware of the sacred white animals, that was one of the first stories that I became aware of, and that's the Native American one, Sacred White Buffalo Calf Woman. So Chief Arvil is the 19th sacred pipe holder for that lineage that came down. I think it's from the Sioux Nation. So yes, so he is very, very aligned with the sacred white animals, and he has also designated the 21st of June World Peace and Prayer Day in respect to the solstice and an honoring of the sacred sites. So that's the sacred sites within. So does anybody have any questions with that? And I'd also liked what he said here, the sacred hoop of life, because when we actually look here, we see, you know, sort of manifestations of the sacred hoop. It has no beginning and no end. And each time we see an infinity symbol, it's just another representation of a circle. So here we have interlocking and interplaying circles. 4 circles represent the primary seed of life, the primary seed building block, which is the tetrahedron from which everything else is built. So really beautiful symbology, and that's something that I want to actually build into the new membership program, the new series of workshops that I actually want to bring to you guys. They're not really workshops, it's just educational awareness expansion opportunities, if you like. It's part of the understanding, the ascension at a much deeper, more profound level and understanding what's happening. So Laurie says, this is amazing. She came up in a card reading received yesterday from Doreen Virtue's Ascended Masters Oracle deck. Who? White Buffalo Calf Woman. You see, isn't that beautiful? Lovely. Thank you for sharing, Laurie. That's really, really beautiful and lovely validation that this is how we within the diamond community have chosen to align our energies with the solstice, because there's a lot going on in the sacred sites around the world with different aspects of alignment, without necessarily perhaps honoring the sacred site itself, and honoring some of the sacred sites that are being decimated and have been decimated throughout the world. Those sacred sites were actually built and put in place for, as we've said, such a higher purpose. Love all the synchronicities within our diamond group. It's always so beautiful. And, there again, I'm so grateful for you guys, because that's when I see and we see the magic, and we see the magic that actually flows through this. So thank you for all of those contributions. Does anybody have, I love this shaman light code. Don't you love the energy in this with the new diamond behind it? It just really pops it. Yeah, just in awe, really beautiful. And in fact, I'll tell you something, that the connection between these infinity loops, um, and the four spheres and the foundation of life and the tetrahedron is something I have only just seen as we were talking, and realized the connection of. So, so I just love how that actually popped in and flowed too. So there's levels of understanding how these light codes are presented and what they do. So this is called the shaman. And ultimately, by connecting with the four fundamental spheres, it connects us with the fundamental um, nature through those four spheres back into the multi-dimensional nature of reality itself before everything comes into form. So, sort of through the form, we connect with the formless. And that's really what it's doing and helping us. So this is going to be key to helping us to unlock what has become locked into form in the cells in our bodies as a consequence of what we might think of as multi-generational traumas that actually require healing. So Elaine says it looks like the dark center is jitterbugging. Oh, isn't that interesting? Oh, that's, yeah, moving, fascinating. And Hilary says we have a local sacred site that was mainly removed called 13 Stone Circles here, where the Allen line went through. You see, yeah, that's exactly it. There was no honoring, no respect, and as a consequence of that, because the sacredness of the land and everything else around it was not honored and appreciated, we start seeing the breakdown of communities, the breakdown of relationships between ourselves and the natural world, these extinctions that are happening throughout the animal kingdoms. And it is like the fabric begins breaking down rather than building up. And that was something that we experienced, as I said to you guys previously, in South Africa in the stone circles, is that we experienced by those switching on, which was the work that we did, that it opened up a new level. There was an incredible communication network that linked together all of those stone circles with the most ancient of calendars. And those are all aligned and linked in with the Nilotic meridian, all the way through Africa up to Egypt. Just an incredible, incredible experience. So, yes, when we do that work, magic happens. Elaine says in Australia too. Yes, absolutely. The Aboriginal peoples have held that sacred knowledge. So, because of what's happened with the Indigenous peoples, we're in grave danger of so much of that sacred knowledge and that awareness also being wiped from our consciousness. So, we want to actually honor that and keep it alive within ourselves. And there's another aspect to this because, as I've said to you guys before, we have forgotten, especially in the northern climes, in the European countries, and in the north of America, the white-skinned people have actually forgotten their own indigenous nature very often. So we have lost our indigenous roots. So the decimation of the Druids, the decimation of all of the European indigenous peoples has done great harm to the continuity and the flow and the thread of life. So that's part and parcel of the restoration that we will be doing through this process. So there we have it, the links. So the color of the light code now looks a bit muddy, like it's stirred up energies. It will have been stirring up energies already. So this shaman light code is really quite powerful. It's a pretty easy one to visualize. And it's interesting with the color because the background color as well, you can almost see it's quite it's an earthy color, but there actually is some pink heart energy in there. It's kind of like a shade of magenta, but not quite magenta. So yes, there is a powerful connection to what gets activated, if you like, through this code. Yeah, I love it. And the ultimate light that emanates, blurry like my vision. Yeah, very interesting, Elaine. So it's obviously working. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is to just spend a few moments focusing on the light code so that you can actually bring it to conscious awareness. I'm beginning, just out of interest, you guys, are you feeling this anywhere in your body at the moment? Because I'm beginning to feel it very, very specifically. At the moment, I'm feeling this in my navel. So I don't know if any of you are picking it up. So Elaine's got heart. Okay. It'll be very interesting when we go through the process to see where the energies flow into within your body. Natalie's got navel as well. Yeah, I was okay. I was kind of going, okay, it's not sacral, it's actually in the navel area. This is really interesting, and that's it is a hara, yeah, the PowerPoint navel. Very interesting. Yeah, so there's a bit of stirring going on down in the sacral at the moment. So it's going to be interesting to see where the journey takes us. So Leela says navel and throat. Very interesting. And he says very grounded. Yep, that's going to support us in anchoring in and grounding the influx of new energy and clearing out the old dark that is being brought to conscious awareness. Elaine says mine won't go anywhere but the heart. It's going to be and go exactly where it needs to, as you know. Thank you, Elaine. That's wonderful. I'm actually starting to feel it in the heart too, so it's starting to move in different places. Any other questions or comments before we start from you guys? We welcome all of the others as well who are joining us in spirit. And those who are unable to join us live, you are here with us through this portal of no time that we accept and open and hold. Okay, so no more comments and questions. If you are ready, then let's close your eyes. And as always, begin just by taking long, slow, deep breaths in. All the way down to your toes, back up through your body. Breathing in a circular manner. Down to the earth and then back up over the top of your head and down the front of your face, through your mouth. Just initiate that flow, for in that flow is a boost that is provided to all of the meridians of your body, a network system for channeling and moving subtle energy into and through your chakras and your organs. Just all the way down to your feet, down the front, and then back up the back, up your spine, across the top of your head, and back down again. And in this circular breathing, the amount of light that your body is able to hold begins to gradually expand, almost as if there is a golden glow filtering through your meridians, a very faint golden network of light, like very fine optic fibers threading their way throughout your body. And this golden network of fibers now begins to extend outwards beyond the surface of your skin, extending out through the many and numerous acupuncture and acupressure points that serve as gateways or small vortices into your meridian system. And as those golden fibers extend out around you, they build a network of interconnecting lattice forms that as you watch and continue breathing, this network takes on the shape and form of your diamond grid, your personal diamond grid, literally emanating and being created from the inside out. So you may notice as you do this, and as the fibers crisscross and create this lattice of living light, that there are areas within the grid that is formed that are perhaps a little darker than others, perhaps not fully realized, perhaps not fully formed. Everything is exactly as it is. As you surrender into this place, you know that all is perfect and well. So you find yourself now in the center of a circle, a magic circle. Now the boundaries of this circle may be in the form of stones, of plants or trees, like a sacred copse of trees. It may be in the form of statues or carvings, sand pillars. It's a demarcation of space that enables you to work with safety within your own sacred site. And imprinted upon the surface of the earth upon which you are standing in the center of this circle is the shaman light code, simply traced out in the earth that you can see beneath your feet, stretching out and connecting you with the demarcation points of your circle. And as you call in the golden light of your highest self, you see the rays emanating out from the soul star above your head, to ignite and align and alight with each one of those demarcation points, extending up, placed upon the earth. Your sacred circle is now protected by the essence and energy of your own divinely manifested highest essence. And you are able to surrender into this space, into this time, into this place. And as you continue breathing, you're aware of your shoulders relaxing, of an easing of the tension that you may have been experiencing at one level or another within your energy body. And as things ease, you're aware of the golden light through the meridian system within you, making up the shape and form and filling in some of those darker areas within your diamond. And you create space within for the influx of cosmic light and light codes that is emanating through the center of our galaxy, from beyond the center of our galaxy to the great central sun. These waves of progressive, uplifting, and evolutionary energies to enter your being through your soul star. Just be aware of wave upon wave now flooding through, bringing with those waves particles of intense light encoded spheres. And your soul star opens up to receive this intensified light being gifted upon this solstice. And as the light descends into and through your being, you can feel the pressure that it brings as it seeks space within your cellular structures, as it seeks to ignite aspects and advanced codings and language within your DNA. It's like it's pushing up against invisible barriers. Be aware of where in your body you begin to feel this pressure, where the light wants to enter, where it may be prevented. But the only reason that it can't enter is that your body still holds on to patterns and memories of intergenerational and multiple generations before you. Some of what you were birthed and born into does not and did not belong to you. However, the burden that you have carried and the blessing is that your soul chose to be here at this time in order for you to heal this that you have carried. So as the light continues to stream in and the pressure continues to intensify, it's almost as if the darkness of those multi-generational memories is projected out now on the beams of light so that you can see, standing in front of you, the memories of the traumas that you have been carrying. So the first thing that you may become aware of is the traumas that you have carried and still continue to carry from this life. For those are the most surface traumas that are easy to remember, and the light projects those out first. And it projects the images out onto one arm of the shaman light code, lighting it up and enabling you to see. Just allow yourself in this place of surrender and safety to be aware of those scenarios and patterns where you have held onto the memory of a trauma that you have personally experienced. And as the light continues to pulse down into your being, along with the code of seeking to express through you, the intense pressure awakens a deeper level within your DNA. And this deeper level of memory has been hiding behind the most obvious layers of memory, which are your conscious memories. And these are memories and traumas that were experienced by your parents, that were passed on to you in the physical fabric of your body, stored like a tape or a videotape within your makeup. And the first one that you will see is allow your mother's memory that may have held and be related to a traumatic situation that she experienced. For there may be many, and yet you only inherit or have chosen to embody a selection of these traumas. Allow your mom to be projected onto the next arm of the shaman light code, and allow her to show you which of her traumas are embedded within your biology. And in this moment, you feel and become aware of an expansion of your heart space as you realize with the deepest compassion the pain that was carried through her body, that unknowingly was passed through to you. None of it was intentional. Just allow her to show you. And notice from whatever she is showing you what links into your present life conscious memories. So where might there have been circumstances in your life that was simply a manifestation of a pattern that was not yours to begin with? And the light intensifies, and along the next flower petal of the shaman code appears your father. Whether you know him consciously or not, his figure and essence will appear to show you where and what the trauma is that you may have been carrying on his behalf. Allow the hologram or the image to play out as if watching a movie screen in front of you, and yet you are intricately connected. If he cannot speak, You cannot hear the words. Allow him to show you with signboards or pictures what his trauma was, or which of those experiences was shared with you. And then, pressuring even deeper, you are aware that another layer within your DNA is being reached and opened to reveal to you your parents' parents and where their traumas were inherited through the lines, through the generations. As one by one, you feel and see your grandparents filling up the petals and showing you where their traumas were passed on to your parents to be stored within your biology. What was their sadness? What are they choosing to show you that is ready to be unlocked and healed within you at this moment? And as each of the layers is projected out through each of your grandparents, you become aware of yet more light filling up your body as the space is created, squeezing out yet more layers within your DNA as you get to witness and bear witness to your grandparents' parents. Just allow your consciousness to survey the stories and the threads that are filling up the petals of this light code within your sacred space. Bear witness to their pain, to their apologies, to their requests for forgiveness, as with each projection, the light within your heart expands that little bit more and begins to glow strongly. An effusive, soft, green-blue color. See the golden threads that interconnect all of the stories of the multi-generational impact of your history, of your life, and of your circumstances. And there is a prime opportunity for that pain to stop right here as you rededicate your inner space. Each of the beings that you see now presented before you within this space opens up their hands and reveals to you a key, a golden key. It is the key to healing. It is a gift that they bring you, for the gift lies within the wound itself. The gift also lies in the recognition and acknowledgement of the challenge and difficulty, of their pain, of the value of their lives, and in compassionate forgiveness for yourself and for them. And when you are ready, you invite one of them to step forward towards you. Notice which one it is, for the one that steps forward first will be initiating a grand unraveling of your karmic and family ties and trauma. And the golden key is presented to you. But instead of taking it, what is required of you is to open yourself in total vulnerability and allow them to place it into your heart. And with the placement, there is a burst of light from your heart space. And within your heart space, moving up from your traditional heart chakra into your high heart, your sacred heart, your divine heart, the secret chambers of your heart, not often reached. And the door bursts open, and there is a flood of compassionate grace which moves through from your high heart into your physical heart and out into the person who gifted you the key. And it's a burst of pure love. And in the fire and the flame of that love is transferred and communicated a message of release, acknowledgement, honor, and forgiveness. And the energy of that ancestral presence is transmuted within this space into pure gold. And as the energy stands before you now bathed in golden light, you're given the opportunity to reabsorb this golden light back into your body. And as you invite that light back in, it activates not only the gap in the DNA from which the presence was projected, but it spirals up through your being into your high heart, amplifying your heart field even more. And this has left a gap in the chain of all of your generational memories. And the strength of those memories and their effect upon you begins to break down as the interconnecting links break down. And the next strongest link that exists steps forward with their key. And now that you are familiar with the process, Allow each one to approach you in turn, to ask for forgiveness for their contribution to the trauma of your conscious life and the unconscious patterns that you may have been projecting. Take notice of what they are presenting you with in respect of the memory. Then allow yourself to accept the key as you open up a new window into healing within you, and you create greater space for the embodiment of new light. With each one, you feel a releasing of the pressure and an ongoing expansion of not only your heart space, of your body, of your mind, of the cells in your being. Of the meridian. The expansion enables you to move through blockages. I'm going to leave you in this space now to work your way around the light code as the links that have represented the holding together of these patterns becomes weaker and weaker with each interaction. Allow yourself to be granted the insight and wisdom of what each individual has to offer you. Take a deep breath in now. As you look around at this space that is now completely filled with golden light. And in the momentum of this moment, the light code itself is energized and activated, and almost as if it's elevating from the ground, it emerges as a light-filled form just above the surface of this circle. And it begins to spiral in an anti-clockwise direction. Serving to further expand your space. And with you held in the eternal moment of the now in the center of the code, you allow it to spin around you, blending and merging all dimensions from which it is connected. Weaving light around you in a spiral, that elevates your consciousness and your being. There are threads of gold emanating from you in every direction, reaching out through and into the cosmic grids, into the universe, plugging into the new light, the fibers of your energy field. For you contain within you more space to be and to hold that light. Allow yourself to connect through the grid, through the cosmic grid, as this code continues to spiral around you. And to attach to and be energized by cosmic light codes that have been waiting for the opportunity to birth through you in order to enhance your presence, your purpose, and your mission. And in this state of total compassionate forgiveness, you become an open receiver of grace, of light, of you, and more of the fabric and the essence that you were born to be. Allow the light to traverse those fibers in little packets that come down into your body. See the DNA packets within the nuclei of all of your cells lighting up, activating in different ways, mobilizing, for your DNA does that. When it is exposed to a new light or new information, it mobilizes and reforms itself. For those who have been feeling the pressure and intensity of that light trying to be manifest within your body, be aware now of a new flow, an energized flow, a lightness, and the opening up of new DNA codings free from memories that you had no choice but to be given and for you to work with. Those wounds throughout your life are your greatest teachers and healers. And for all of the love and compassion extended to your ancestral lineages, this is a compassion and forgiveness and a grace that is extended towards yourself. The core column within your diamond is alive and alight with these flowing streams of energy into your being. And those newly energized fibers now reach out and energize this circle within which you stand. This is a multidimensional circle interconnecting you with the worlds of form and the world of magic, the realms beyond the visible, and those pillars that demarcate your circle, whether they be pillars, stones, trees, they come alive with the light. And they surround you with this huge protective circle within which you shine in the brilliance of your diamond. And finally, condense the essence and energy of that spinning light code, of the shaman light code as it slows down. Allow it to become smaller and smaller. For your sacred site still holds the imprint of its form. As it condenses, it becomes an intense packet of pure light, of light from beyond the beyond. And you send this light code through the earth now beneath your feet, beyond the boundaries, allowing it to find its interconnected network between you and all of the other sacred sites upon the planet. And as it moves through and weaves its way through the network, it aligns and alights and activates each of those sacred sites. Bursts of light that you see all over the planet. For the light within the code now represents an honoring of the ancient peoples through your lineages who respected and worked with those ancient sacred sites of Mother Earth. There was where they witnessed, bore witness to their healing and the healing of others, where they connected with the cosmos. Know yourself as the wizard. And you have the gift of receiving this cosmic energy balanced by the burden of right use and action. The burden of forgiveness. Of all upon our planet who remain in darkness and ignorance. For that is the burden of the light. Rest into the acceptance of this within your core. As you take note, finally now, of the clarity of the facets within your personal diamond grid. Notice how bright your diamond field is in all directions. And this sacred circle within which you stand becomes an imprint upon your heart. A circle of forgiveness, of presence, of magic, of honoring, of connection and connectivity, of relationship and harmony for all that it represents. A circle of no time and no space, a circle that is eternal, imprinted within your being. As you take a deep breath in now, you have gifted the sacredness of your circle around the planet. And right now, in this moment, there is nothing else that you are required to do other to rest into the expanded nature of your being, rest into the love that you are and the love that is all around you. Deep breath in and breathe out. Deep breath in and out. And once more, deep breath in. And you can release your breath with a sigh as you prepare to return to waking consciousness. And welcome back. How are you doing? Oh, wasn't that just beautiful? How did you guys experience that with the ancestral lineages and influences? You enjoyed that? Very deep. Yes, it was. Oh, wonderful, Natalie. That's amazing. Clarity into Selena says it was deep somehow along the meditation. I saw another symbol though, like a spiral. I feel that the energy was releasing like steam. Yes. Yeah, it's wonderful. Yeah, that's really beautiful. And I think that's it as well. You get pressure cookers, that steam into the traumas I'd been carrying, very intense. Wonderful. Yes, a lot of insight into that. And that was what I was guided to in respect of understanding. And I know that we have lost Elaine, and I would like to ask the entire group to hold Elaine in your hearts and prayers and thoughts, because I know that Elaine has been through, and I think the minute we started going into the trauma, I think it became probably very intense. So let's just send our love and surround her in that energy. I'm sure I'll hear from her later. But yes, that was very interesting in the way that it played out, because as always, going into it, it ends up being different than what I first or initially expect that it's going to be. So I only ever have a concept in my mind, and it takes us on the journey that we need to go. So hopefully there, Bunny says it was exactly what I was looking for this week, knowing it was ancestral. Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much. Very deep. That's what I was feeling within me, is that the pressure and the intensity of the light that was coming through was coming up against aspects that were blocking it. So there was this like this real influx coming up against the wall. The only thing that was going to release it was to open up those spaces Natalie says it was so interesting as I was only shown everything on my mother's side. Now I mean, that's really interesting, Natalie, and it's also perfect because it's going to be what it's going to be, and there may be another time when you do this process that it opens up on your father's side and enables yet more, So everything just absolutely is dependent upon where we are at this particular moment in time and what's needed. We know that it's perfect for our journey. So I'm really, really pleased to hear that you guys had some insights. Lena says both sides and a very ancient ancestor felt like a connection with druids. Oh, Leela, I am absolutely sure that there was a druidic connection. I think for many of us in this community, we have been there, done that, along with the more ancient starseed connections and the very obvious Atlantean Lemurian ones. We've been through the lines of those who were holders of the magic, and the druids were. In fact, the druids were the storytellers that were basically a lot of trauma there. The druids were virtually wiped out in Europe, so it was almost a genocide. So there would be a lot of trauma um, within that. So very interesting that that came up. And I think the more we do this, the more clarity and insight will come through the process. Much needed, very much needed. Oh, wonderful. Well, I hope you all experience the upliftment from that, because that is key. And what I was seeing at the end, I must just say to you, when you work with those science lamps, those ones that give off static energy, and you just see those fibers extending throughout the lamp when you touch it. That's almost like that's what I saw you guys as in the center of these circles, like this plasma ball. That's what it is, like a plasma ball. Yeah, with these fibers just extending out in all directions, but so energized. How those fibers were carrying so much energy, it's like superpowering. So really, really interesting. It felt super electrical. It was like a very, very powerful energy. Hillary said, yes, very deep compassion for the mystery of my lineage. I felt the loss, rejection, which was the main thing throughout. Soft and peaceful now. Beautiful. Oh, that's lovely. Natalie says, I saw that too. The superpowered electrical charge. Superpowered for sure. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you for the magic. Thank you for those validations. And for that insight. Lena says, thank you so much. Been following some of your work. Never joined any of the healing sessions. Saw this one and needed to join. That's beautiful, Lena. Thank you. We hope we'll see you for more of our community gatherings now that you have some insight into what we do and how we do it. And each one is unique, and we never know until we are in that space just how it's going to present itself and be of benefit to us. So we hope that you will join us for some more in the future. And thank you for bringing your light. Thank you all for bringing your essence and your beauty and your light to share, because all of this takes place purely because of the amplification effect of the collective. Ah, thank you, Bunny. These webinars are powerful. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Be in light. And yes, I think this will be something really beautiful and powerful. Use over and over, that it's like it captured the energy of this particular solstice, so that we can work with it to remove yet and become aware of and bring into conscious awareness more of those layers, because that is our journey. The journey of ascension is a journey of consciousness. It's a journey of bringing all that has been held in the dark into conscious awareness. So this is almost like a vital, it's a tool that you can use. Natalie says, my heart is still beaming on 1,000%. 1,000 watt light bulb. You're all switched on. Beautiful, beautiful. Well, much, much love to you all. As always, the deepest of gratitude to all of you for being here, for being vulnerable, for being your absolutely magical, powerful shaman, uh, vulnerable, flexible selves, and all of that, and for being the magic. Go out and be more of the magic. Love you all. Um, and till the next time, thank you. Much, much love.